And as water levels continue to rise across Wisconsin, so do the number of closures. We are live from Darlington talking to the police chief about the latest school and road closures.
And more subpoenas could be headed to the White House. We have the very latest in the impeachment inquiry straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday, October 3rd. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Sprider. Meteorologist Hattie McLean. Finally a happy person this morning. At least you're getting there. The umbrella, hopefully you're going to be putting it down later today.
Yeah, we've had some drizzle, pretty steady in the backyard, but that is coming to an end as well. The rain is done. That's the good news. Still a lot of moisture left in the atmosphere, and you can see that in the light beam shining on the Capitol this morning. We are dealing with a little bit of fog. Visibility has been less than 2 miles south and west of Madison. Janesville now down to visibility at 1 3/4 miles, about 1.5 miles from Platteville up to Mineral Point. 2 miles here in Madison. Also some fog low developing in the Dells where visibility is at 1 mile. So be aware of that situation this morning. You may encounter some drizzle if you're headed out early, but all the rain has moved out of the area. Temperatures are in the mid-50s. We'll climb just a few degrees again today, but a northwesterly wind is going to be a dry wind for us, and that will sort of scour out some of that moisture and also help to clear the clouds later on today. Take a look at your traffic reports. We are still dealing with river level rises, though, and flooding issues for southern Wisconsin. 2 roads that are closed, Highway 23, that's Main Street in Darlington, and also Highway 78 between County Road H and Lee Valley Road. Those are closed due to water over the roadways. Here in Madison, no major issues, just the usual crowd showing up at Stoughton Road and the Beltline at this hour. Otherwise, still a little too early for the volume delays.
I am looking forward to some dry weather. I don't know about you two.
Yeah, I'll take dry, and I would also like some sunshine.
Same.
About time for fall to be here. Thank you very much, Hattie.
You're welcome.
We are monitoring updates to breaking news in Darlington this morning where schools are closed and the main bridge is shut down for flooding.
Only our Christina Laurie is talking to the police chief with the very latest. Christina, what do we know?
Josh and Leah, this is the 7th time in just the past 2 years that rising water levels has shut down this bridge. Chief Jason King, you know this well. Unfortunately, we were out here just a few months back talking to you about a similar situation. So what do we do today about this?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of waiting and watching. That's really where we're at today. You're right, this is the 7th time we've experienced a flood in the last 24 months. In fact, we've had more moderate floods in the last 24 months than we have in the last 25 years combined. So it's starting to get a bit discouraging here in Darlington.
Wow. And if there's any silver lining here, it's at least that business owners are kind of used to it.
Yeah.
What type of flood protections do they already have?
That's right. You know, Darlington is used to it, and so that's why I say we just do a lot of waiting and watching, because businesses that were normally affected by floodwaters have been either flood-proofed or flood mitigated, as we call it, or simply torn down and relocated on top of the hill. So it makes these floods much more manageable today than it did, say, for example, 25 years ago.
But rising water levels have shut down schools today. Anything else that parents at home need to know?
Well, you know, aside from the fact that schools closed, that we would like parents to be aware that that means the kiddos are going to be out and about and they're going to be curious and looking at waters, and we really would appreciate their help with keeping the kids away from the waters and letting them know that's not a safe thing to do.
Keep kids away from waters and also drivers too. Turn around, don't drown. I know that you already have your police car stopping any cars from crossing this bridge behind us. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning,
Thank you.
Chief. And for now, I'll send it back to you, Josh and Leah.
Christina, thank you. Right now, the city of Monona is offering free sandbags as some areas here in the Dane County area are dealing with flooding from heavy rain over the past few days.
They're available at 2 locations, Oneida Park on Tecumseh Avenue and the parking lot of Winnequa Road and Healy Lane near Winnequa Park. There's also a slow no-wake order in place for Lake Monona.
Over in Washington County, residents are doing whatever they can to protect themselves from flooding there as well after heavy rains.
There's nothing I can do. All I can do is hook up my 2 pumps I got downstairs and hope for the best. A couple years ago, we actually had fish swimming around here, but we'll probably have them tomorrow.
You know, other areas near Beaver Dam got as much as 10 inches of rain. Back here in Madison, we've seen more rain in 31 hours than across a 31-day average. Yes, that is right. We are already above our average rainfall for the month of October, and it's only day 3.
Homecoming games at Fond du Lac High School could be impacted by the flooding as well. The football field currently underwater for the 2nd time in roughly 6 months. The last time this happened in March. Now it's the heart of the football season, and the future for Fond du Lac and St. Mary Springs homecoming games hinges on what happens after the water recedes.
Now, after storm damage, scammers could try to take advantage of you. The Better Business Bureau has this advice to help you avoid getting scammed. They say to beware of an out-of-town storm chaser who goes door to door. Getting references is also helpful, and you should get everything in writing, as well as do some research on the business first. We have these tips and more up right now on channel3000.com and on our mobile app. And of course, if you have a question about any scam, a suspicious business, or another consumer complaint or question, our Call for Action volunteers can help you out with that. They're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 until 1. You can reach them right there at that number on your screen. That's 608-270-2833.
6:05 right now. House Democrats plan to subpoena the White House if they don't get the documents they've requested by the end of the day today. The subpoena threat escalates the impeachment investigation from House Democrats. Both Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Rudy Giuliani have already been subpoenaed so far. Today, the former U.S. envoy to Ukraine is set to testify behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. At a White House press conference, the president punted on questions about what he asked the Ukrainian president regarding Joe Biden.
What did you want President Zelensky to do with regard to Joe and Hunter Biden?
Biden and his son are stone cold crooked, and you know it.
The question, sir, was what did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son Hunter?
Are you talking to me?
Chairman Adam Schiff says that obstruction of justice could be an article of impeachment against the president, and efforts to block information from the committees could be seen as corroborating the allegations.
More local news now. Wisconsin Representative Mark Pocan is weighing in on the impeachment inquiry, answering questions from residents in Dane and Rock counties as part of a series of town halls.
Kind of have a motive, we have a crime, we have a confession, and we have evidence. So it's kind of jump-starting the process quite a bit. Now we just got to make sure we get the totality of it, you know, who else might be involved, was there a cover-up, and move from there.
Representative Pocan also brought up concerns over what farmers here in Wisconsin are facing, including tariffs and recent comments by the country's ag secretary that small farms might not survive. He said small farms are the backbone of our rural economy, and he and others in the House are working to support them by fighting the tariffs.
Happening today, the legislature's Black and Latino Caucus is holding its second annual roundtable. Members will talk with community leaders about the state's racial disparities in jobs, incarceration rates, and housing, and how to fix those numbers. Governor Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes will join the conversation as well. That starts at 11 this morning.
There could be more changes coming to how the state handles sexual assault kits. This comes after Wisconsin was criticized for leaving thousands of kits untested in past years. There is currently no specific procedure for collecting and processing sexual assault kits, but a new bill would change that. It would require a doctor to report a sexual assault to police within 24 hours of putting together the kit, or send it to the state crime lab if the victim doesn't want police involved. Lawmakers are talking about that bill later today at the state capitol.
Looking ahead now, Governor Evers' administration is still working to increase health coverage across the state. The Department of Health Services and the Office of the Insurance Commissioner are working to boost both private and government coverage. WPR reports that together the groups announced $500,000 will go towards outreach in hopes of encouraging people to register. Around 400,000 people reportedly had no health insurance at some point last year. You can sign up for coverage starting next month at healthcare.gov.
Governor Evers says he will carefully review a pardon application filed on behalf of 29-year-old Brendan Dassey. Dassey, you'll remember, is one of the subjects of the Netflix series Making a Murderer. He confessed to helping his uncle, Stephen Avery, commit the murder of Teresa Halbach back in 2005. Dassey is currently serving a life sentence, but his lawyers argue that his confession was coerced. Dassey is one of the subjects of that Netflix series, Making a Murderer.
We're confident that when the governor looks at this case, watches those interrogation videos, speaks to the people involved, gives Brendan Dassey a hearing, we're confident that he's going to see this is exactly the kind of case that the clemency power is tailor-made for.
Now, Dassey's case doesn't meet the eligibility requirements to apply for a pardon since he hasn't completed his sentence, but Governor Evers says his Pardon Advisory Board considers all applications, even those they would otherwise reject.
6:09 is your time right now. Commuters aren't the only ones looking forward to the Nesbitt-Fitzroena Road roundabout opening tomorrow. Governor Tony Evers is celebrating the upcoming milestone of the Verona Road construction project.
This is important The overwhelming support from the collective local leadership that are over here today and the business community was key to the successful delivery of this project.
3 lanes of Verona Road in both directions between Raymond and McKee are scheduled to open in early November. As for the entire project, there's only one more construction season left. It is slated to be done in 2020. All right, 10 minutes past 6 o'clock right now, and still ahead for us on a Thursday morning. We're talking about an event happening this weekend where you and the family can learn about nature and celebrate the fall season.
Hattie finally forecasting some weather that feels a little bit more like fall. We will see when the rain will return, though. That's next in Hattie's extended forecast on News 3 Now this morning.
This portion.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. Still some drizzle coming down here on the west side of town. Just not going to do the umbrella out of principle at this hour. The rain has come to an end, which is good news. We still have quite a bit of October left, and we've already seen more than we would typically see as far as rain is concerned. Almost 3¼ inches so far this month. The average for the month is 2.4 inches. So we're well above that. And again, just a couple of days into the month. Because of all that heavy rain recently, there are many rivers that are at or above flood stage. Some levels are still rising. There are several river flood warnings in effect for southern Wisconsin. So the ongoing flooding situation continues today, even though no rain is in the forecast. In fact, take a look at Doppler track. The drizzle is just too light to be detected by radar at this hour, but the rain, the accumulating rain that is, has come to an end for southern Wisconsin and all of the state for that matter. We still are dealing with quite a few clouds in the area, though. It's going to take some time for northwesterly winds to really dry out the atmosphere and start to clear out some of those clouds. A live look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning at the Capitol. Still a little bit of reduced visibility there. Visibility is about 2 miles here in Madison, just a mile in the Dells, and about 1.5 miles in Mineral Point, Monroe, and Platteville this morning. Temperatures are for the most part in the 50s. There's always an exception, and Mineral Point is the exception this morning, 48 degrees. Most spots, though, starting off a little more comfortable in the mid-50s. Light winds right now will shift to the northwest as we go through the mid-morning hours. So by about 9 or 10 o'clock, those northwesterly winds will kick in. It's going to be pretty breezy through the afternoon, but that's a dry wind for us today. So it really is going to scour out some of that moisture and dry things out here across southern Wisconsin. The winds should diminish again as the sun sets tonight. Your future track forecast model shows you dry conditions this morning. Lots of clouds, though, but beginning to start to see some holes in that cloud cover through the afternoon with high temperatures in the upper 50s, real close to 60 degrees. Skies will continue to clear out tonight, and it's going to be a chilly start tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be down in the low 40s. Here's a look at your extended forecast. A great day, though, ahead tomorrow. More sunshine than today, 57 for the high. Pretty good chance for some rain on Saturday. It's looking like showers in the morning, possibly a few isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. We'll start to dry out, though, Saturday night into Sunday, and then a nice stretch of weather headed our way for next week with lots of sunshine. Now, this is the time of the morning. We always send it over to Jason Stone for all the traffic details. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. Not much happening on the Beltline. All vehicles are moving at the posted speed limit. Expect some lining up at the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. Stop-and-go traffic on Verona Road between the Beltline and Highway PD. Otherwise, all routes into Madison and around Dane County are mostly clear. And no issues getting downtown. Commuters are able to navigate around the Isthmus and campus without any trouble. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you very much. All right, 6:17 right now. Now that it's starting to feel a little bit more like fall outside, you might be looking for some more seasonal activities for the family.
I know we are. We are talking about one of your options this morning. Here to talk about the 15th annual Harvest Moon Festival is Lael Pasquale from Dane County Parks. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about this event. I'm not familiar.
Sure. So this is the 15th annual Harvest Moon Festival. It has nature-based activities and recreation-based stations throughout our prairie area that's lit up by torches. Kids can walk through with families. There's a bonfire and s'mores, and we have a tree climb and then live bluegrass music.
So sounds like fun for all ages here.
Yeah, it's good for everyone. You know, all the way through the family, and we'll have accessible all-terrain wheelchairs too. So if you want to bring someone out that needs that extra assist, we'll be able to have that as well.
Now, I understand there are some interactive exhibits here. Want to talk about those?
There are. There's going to be live animals. We have the zoo coming out, a couple of other nature-based activities like the Humane Society will be bringing out their critters. And then we have plenty of crafts and a wool exhibit along with a photo booth and all sorts of other ones.
So talk about when this is happening and give folks the details if they're interested.
Yeah, so this is happening this Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Lucier Family Heritage Center, which is located in William G. Lunny Lake Farm County Park.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to talk about this.
Thank you for having me.
All right, still ahead on News 3 Now this morning, we are taking a look at where Wisconsin stands in the most vaccinated states, and it might be lower than you expect.
And first, looks like more wet morning out there for the bus stop before we begin to dry out for the rest of the work week. Hattie's updating us straight ahead on News 3 Now this morning.
Co-present
6:22 right now, and this is a live look in Darlington this morning. You can see the bridge over the Pecatonica River is closed down, and schools also closed down there this morning because of that flooding.
Quite a scene out there. This can be just devastating for that town. They have seen serious flooding in the last 2 years, more than they've seen in the last 25 combined. Christina Laurie is going to be live talking with the police chief coming up in just a little bit. But first, Hattie, some good news. We are coming to an end to all that rain.
Finally, we get a chance to dry out this morning. Although river levels may continue to rise as that water makes its way downstream, but no rain is in the forecast, which is the best news. Still a little damp this morning, and we're seeing a bit of fog south of Madison especially. Visibility less than 2 miles in Monroe and Janesville, about 2 miles here in Madison. Some improvement just over the last couple of minutes in the Dells. Visibility back up to 2 miles there as well. But take a look at Weather Track. All of the rain has pushed out of the area. We're left with some drizzle in spots this morning. That's really just too light for the radar to detect, but a lot of cloud cover across southern Wisconsin. We'll have to be patient today for that clearing trend. Northwesterly winds are eventually going to dry things out. So cloudy as you head to school this morning. Temperatures only climbing a few degrees. Again, the high today is 59, but it'll definitely be drier this afternoon, and some peaks of sunshine are expected as well. Let's take a look as you head through the rest of that school week. On Friday should be a better day. Lots of sunshine. A cool start in the morning though, 41 degrees. So if you're heading to the bus stop tomorrow morning, you'll definitely want a jacket. 57 though for the high. A lot of sunshine as we head into next week as well.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. So we are down to the final 3 days of our annual Coats for Kids drive. Another 200 coats came in overnight, so we are closing in on 3,000 for the season, with a total of more than 2,900 coats this morning. If you haven't donated yet, or you have more items you'd like to give, the event runs through Saturday. Bring those coats, snowsuits, hats, and mittens to any area Clinky Cleaners to help out.
6:24 right now. October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and one Wisconsin woman is trying to show the world that people with Down syndrome just want to be seen like anyone else. Danielle, though, was sharing her own accomplishment with us to change the way the world sees people who live with Down syndrome. Tonight, only on News 3 Now at 10, Jamie Perez will share her story. Hear why Danielle is spreading a message that Down syndrome doesn't define her, she defines it. Again, that's tonight at 10.
Just the kind of uplifting story we need this week. All right, we now know where Wisconsin ranks when it comes to vaccinations. The World Health Organization estimates that vaccines prevented at least 10 million deaths worldwide between 2010 and 2015. Wisconsin students are falling behind, with 92% meeting immunization requirements. Compared to other states, we are just above average, coming in at 20th. Iowa is a little bit ahead of us in 13th, Illinois just a little bit below at 24th. This study looked at factors like the amount of kids, teens, and adults who are vaccinated, in addition to disparities in access.
And now to a story we're very excited about here this morning. Our partners over at Madison Magazine need your help finding the best of Madison for 2020. There are categories ranging from food and drink, nightlife, arts and entertainment, home and lifestyle, and recreation and fitness. By the way, the News 3 Now This Morning team is up for Best TV News Team.
Woo!
So be sure to help us out, folks. You can go right now. There's a link to vote up on channel3000.com/Madison Magazine.
Regardless of who wins, I just love this event because it highlights how many neat companies and people we have right in our own backyard.
We were looking at it yesterday, and there are so many categories, a list of so many wonderful places, and I can't wait to go and check out more of these that I haven't even heard of before.
Exactly. Go out and celebrate Madison. All right, still ahead here on News 3 Now this morning, we have the top 3 things you need to know on your Thursday as you head out the door.
And we're monitoring breaking news in Darlington this morning. That's where schools are closed and the main bridge is blocked because of more flooding for that town. Only on News 3 Now this morning, we're live with the latest next.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks. Thanks for waking up with us on this Thursday, October 3rd. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. We'll get to meteorologist Hattie McLean's forecast in just a moment, but first, let's get to the top 3 things you need to know this morning. Kurt Volker is set to testify today behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. Volker, who stepped down last week from the administration, will be the first witness to testify after a whistleblower complaint set off the House impeachment inquiry against President Trump. The president is continuing to deny any wrongdoing. House Democrats have threatened to subpoena the White House tomorrow if they don't get the documents they've requested by the end of the day.
The second story we're following this morning, Governor Evers says he will review a pardon application filed on behalf of 29-year-old Brendan Dassey. A handwritten letter from Dassey asks Governor Evers to pardon him or commute his sentence to reduce his time behind bars. Dassey, you'll remember, is one of the subjects of the Netflix series Making a Murderer. His case actually doesn't meet the requirements for a pardon, but the Evers administration says they review every request regardless.
And finally this morning, right now the city of Monona is offering free sandbags as some areas are dealing with flooding from heavy rain over the past few days. They're still available at 2 locations, Oneida Park on Tecumseh Avenue and the parking lot at Winnequa Road and Healy Lane near Winnequa Park. There's also a slow no-wake order in place for Lake Monona.
Those are the top 3 things we're following on your Thursday. Hattie's here now with a bit of a quieter forecast, right, Hattie?
That's right, Leah and Josh. At least there's no rain in the forecast today. Still plenty of moisture, though. Take a look at this WISC-TV Skycam shot. Lots of low-level cloudiness, also some drizzle here on the west side of town. You may be seeing some of that drizzle at your place as well. Look at visibility this morning. The clouds are low, but not necessarily right at the ground level. So we have visibility that's still better than a mile in all locations at this hour. As you head out the door, be prepared for kind of a damp start to the day. The drizzle will come to an end, though, as northwest winds kick in and really dry out the atmosphere. Highs today will be in the upper 50s, but we should see some clearing late this afternoon. Now let's take a look at those traffic maps this morning here across southern Wisconsin. Still dealing with flooding issues after that heavy rain over the last couple of days. We're looking at Main Street and Darlington closed, water over the bridge there, Highway 23 and Highway 78 as well between County Road H and Lee Valley Road, also closed due to flooding. Here in the Madison area, we're starting to see some slowdowns on the Beltline right around Stoughton Road, getting a little busy at Park Street as well. Otherwise, no major delays. Looks like you're still going near posted speeds as you head into Madison. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. We are continuing to monitor breaking news in Darlington this morning. You just heard Hattie mention it as they're dealing with yet another significant flood.
A bridge closure has closed schools down for the day, and that's where we find Christina Laurie live with the very latest this morning. Christina, what can you tell us?
Hi, Josh and Leah. The only way to cross the Pecatonica River here in Darlington is via the Main Street Bridge. But as you can see, police were forced to shut down this bridge overnight due to rising water levels. Now, Main Street in Darlington is also part of State Highways 23 and 81. So drivers who normally pass through this small town on their way to work will have to find another way around the city. The Pecatonica is expected to crest at more than 15 feet this morning. That is considered moderate flood stage, and this is the 7th time Darlington has experienced that in just the past 2 years. Flooding is becoming so common for people in this town of about 2,300 people that the Darlington Police Department says the city has seen the Pecatonica hit 15 feet more times in the past 2 years than it did in the previous 25 years combined.
I know that it's certainly becoming discouraging for people and responding to that, but really thanks in great part to the hard work of local officials and volunteers, we just keep rising above it all.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Although things look bad out here this morning, the good news is that a lot of businesses here along Main Street have already braced for this impact. They have flood-resistant doors. They've moved their businesses up a level. Unfortunately, gas stations like Casey's, they are flooded out this morning. So you'll want to leave some extra time on your morning drive if you're heading here through Darlington. Josh and Leah.
Quite the sight in that town this morning. Only our Christina Laurie with those details from Darlington. Thank you very much, Christina.
6:33 right now. The Badgers men's basketball team is still struggling with the tragic accident involving the family of assistant coach Howard Moore. In May, Moore's wife and daughter were killed in the crash in Michigan. Moore continues a slow recovery from his injuries, which are keeping him from coaching this season. At the Big Ten Media Day, head coach Greg Gard says the entire Wisconsin basketball program is having trouble moving on.
It's uncharted territory. There's there's not a manual for how do you handle those things. And as I've gone through my career, obviously I've been advised on many things and have gotten great mentorship from a lot of different people, but that is an area and that's been an experience that, you know, there's not a roadmap for that.
The coaches have done a great job of instilling confidence in us and just being a voice and being there for us. We've had moments of doubt, and I think that the coaches have definitely instilled that confidence back to this team.
Law enforcement agencies from around the state are competing to test their fitness and shooting abilities.
At the 8th Annual Alert Challenge, officers from more than 25 counties participate in a friendly competition with running and shooting challenges. This isn't just for bragging rights, though. Money is on the line as well. The top prize, $10,000, and the winning department can use that money for things like improving gun ranges or even buying new bulletproof vests.
It's your time to put what you've learned over sometimes decades and decades of shooting to the test, and there's nothing better to kind of simulate a real-life event with competition.
In past competitions, Portage County has won more than $20,000 for their department, which they've used to improve training for their deputies. Sounds like a little bit of fun for our officers.
Yeah, I love that. All right, 6:35 right now. Coming up in the morning sprint, we're looking at how much money General Motors stands to lose thanks to the ongoing strike.
And a new movie coming to theaters this weekend has audiences concerned for their safety. We'll tell you why next on News 3 Now this morning. All right, we always ask you to share your morning with us, and this is a stunning, stunning photo from Jolene. Can you guess where it's from?
Muscadet.
Muscadet, 10 minutes from Highland, obviously the southwest corner of the state. is the most beautiful.
And you chose this photo not even knowing where it was from, too.
I know I'm trying to be an unbiased provider of news here, picking photos from across the viewing area, but I can't help it. Look at these beautiful photos.
All the photos coming from Southwest Wisconsin are gorgeous, but I will say all of the photos across much of southern Wisconsin are gorgeous as well.
Yep,
so.
I'm a Wisco gal at heart, regardless of where you're from. Thank you so much for sharing, Jolene.
If you've got a photo you'd like to share, all you have to do is send it to us over on our Channel 3000 Facebook page.
Okay, around the state this morning, Marcus Theaters is changing its bag policy. The Milwaukee-based company is making the change ahead of the Joker movie release, and it could extend it after it leaves theaters.
It's one of many around Wisconsin that are ramping up security ahead of Joker's release. The movie centers around a sympathetic character who's struggling emotionally and finds answers in violence. The upgraded safety measures were recommended by a National Theater Association as authorities worry someone could view the movie through a personal lens. While some are comfortable seeing the movie, others are concerned for their safety.
I'm kind of worried about it because it seems like a very good movie and people are trying to ruin the movie by like talking bad stuff about it.
While I don't think anything is going to happen, I feel like the culture that we live in right now and some of the issues that we've been having, I can understand why the theaters would want to take those precautions.
Now, those precautions Armendariz just mentioned are things like putting restrictions on the kinds of bags allowed in the theater and discouraging using masks. In 2012, a man killed 12 and injured 70 others in a mass shooting at a midnight premiere of The Dark Knight Rises in Aurora, Colorado. More recent online threats have been linked to extremists called incels.
This is a serious issue, but you really can't edit your life because you're afraid of an active shooter.
And it's hard because, like you said, you still want to live your life, but I do find myself out in public now, whether I'm in a movie theater or whatever, kind of checking my surroundings a little bit more than I used to.
Glad to see companies taking security and safety very seriously.
For sure.
All right, still ahead on News 3 Now this morning, it's beginning to feel a lot like
autumn.
That's way better than me. Hattie's got a much cooler forecast for us over the next week. No winter songs yet. Our extended forecast is next.
Yeah, we're not going to do that quite yet. But first, it is Thursday, October 3rd. We want to say happy birthday to Dane and all of the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning.
Wow, quite a sight in Darlington this morning. You're taking a live look at the main street in that town where streets are completely flooded out. School has been closed to the day because of those flooding issues.
Yeah, yet again, this town is cut in half, and this is one of many times within the last few years that this flooding has caused this. So something that we'll definitely be following.
Certainly, but some good news in the forecast. An end to all that rain. Is that right, Hattie?
That is true. We have a dry forecast coming our way today, and as we head through the weekend, we still have more dry weather. So the good news is that things are going to start to dry out. Here's a look at the weather headlines for the weekend. Temperatures will be seasonal, so we've definitely transitioned into more fall-like conditions. There is some rain in the forecast on Saturday. It shouldn't be terribly heavy. Less than an inch is expected, but it covers the entire state, so pretty hard to escape the rain on Saturday. Sunshine and dry weather, though, are back to the region on Sunday. It is getting to be that time of the year now that it feels like fall. What's happening with those fall colors? We're starting to see some pretty good color here through central Wisconsin and the Northwoods at about 50 to 75% color, so nearing peak in some of those far northern counties. Haven't seen a lot of color just yet here in southern Wisconsin. Our peak colors typically come mid to late October for the southern third of the state. As you head to the Northwoods, though, this is about peak time for that color. So Sunday would be a great opportunity to get outside and take a look at some of those colors. Our forecast today starts with mainly dry conditions. For once, we're not talking about rain in the Madison area. Still some drizzle lingering, but we will see a drying trend through the day. Luckily, there aren't any delays at any of the major airports across the country right now. If today is a travel day for you, keep in mind it is still very warm through the southeast and mid-Atlantic states. D.C. once again topping near 100, as well as Atlanta, Memphis, Dallas, Fort Worth in the upper 90s as well. By contrast, significantly cooler through the central and northern parts of the United States. Temperatures will top only in the 50s and even 40s in some locations. Now, I show this shot because earlier there was just a little bit of a hole in the cloud cover. You can see it's lightening up here. We will start to see those clouds break up as we go through the day today. That's the good news. Some indications that the drizzle is already starting to come to an end. Visibility back up to 6 miles here in Madison, still less than 2 miles in Janesville. But as drier air works its way into the region today, we'll see improving conditions. Our temperatures are starting out for the most part in the 50s this morning. 55 here in Madison, 55 as well in Boswell and Prairie du Chien. It is down to 48 in Mineral Point. Light winds this morning will be shifting to the northwest as we go through the afternoon. We're looking at high temperatures near 60, and then clearing tonight will lead to a pretty chilly start tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be down in the 40s. Here's a look at that extended forecast then. We have a beautiful day for tomorrow, 57 degrees, showers again overnight Friday into Saturday. We'll dry out Saturday night though, and then heading into next week, forecast is looking very nice and very dry. Take a look at our pet walk forecast picture. Oh my gosh. Oh, buddy. Pixie and Jake and Monticello really look like they're looking forward to that walk.
Yeah.
Not.
After this week, this is the mood.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm all about those
week.
naps.
Love it.
Thank you very much, Addie.
You're welcome.
The morning sprint is straight ahead, but first, here's Anthony Mason with what's ahead on CBS This Morning. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the latest on the Army paratroopers injured during an exercise at one of the largest military training bases in the U.S. Plus, American astronaut Nick Hague returns to Earth. How a second chance and more than 200 days in space changed him. Also, we'll talk with the British band Keane as they release new music for the first time in 7 years. We will see you at 7.
It's 6:51, time for the morning sprint with the most local news to start out your Thursday.
We begin with an update to breaking news we've been following all morning of flooding in Darlington. Christina Laurie's live with the latest. Christina?
Josh, the Main Street Bridge and all schools here in Darlington are closed as the Pecatonica River continues to rise. Now, this bridge is the only way to get through town. It's also part of State Highways 23 and 81. So drivers who normally pass through this small town on their way to work will have to find another way around the city. The Pecatonica is expected to crest at more than 15 feet this morning. We spoke exclusively with the city's police chief this morning, who told us the frequency of flooding like this is discouraging. The city has seen the Pecatonica hit 15 feet more times in the past 2 years than it has in the past 25 years combined.
And our forecast, thankfully, no rain. We do have some clouds lingering for southern Wisconsin and some drizzle, but already some clearing taking place to the west. So that's encouraging. We should see some sunshine in here a little bit later on today. Temperatures, though, will stay in the 50s, 59 for the high. A northwesterly wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour is expected through the afternoon.
Patty, thank you. Right now, the city of Monona is offering free sandbags as some areas are dealing with flooding from the heavy rain over the past few days. They're available at 2 locations, Oneida Park on Tecumseh Avenue and the parking lot of Winnequa Road and Healy Lane near Winnequa Park. There's also a slow no-wake order in place for Lake Monona.
Over in Washington County, residents are doing whatever they can to protect themselves from flooding there after heavy rains. Other areas near Beaver Dam got as much as 10 inches of rain. Back here in Madison, we have seen more rain in 31 hours than across a 31-day average. We're already above our average rainfall for the month of October, and we're only into day 3.
Homecoming games at Fond du Lac High School could be impacted by the flooding as well. The football field is currently underwater for the second time in roughly 6 months. The last time happened in March. Now it's the heart of the high school football season, and the future for Fond du Lac and St. Mary Springs homecoming games hinges on what happens after the water recedes.
A consulting firm says General Motors could lose $600 million in profits by tomorrow because of the ongoing strike. The Anderson Economic Group warns GM could lose $90 million every day if that strike continues into its 4th week. More than 100 former Janesville employees are among those striking. They say not having their usual salaries is starting to take a toll.
The Trump administration says starting October 18th, the U.S. will impose $7.5 billion worth of tariffs on goods from the European Union. Gouda cheese, single malt whiskey, and large aircrafts are among the products affected. This is in retaliation for legal aid that the EU gave to Airbus to help it compete against Boeing.
The former U.S. envoy to Ukraine is set to testify today behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. Kurt Volker, who stepped down last week, will be the first witness to testify after a whistleblower complaint set off the impeachment inquiry against the president. Democrats have threatened to subpoena the White House if they don't get the documents they've requested by the end of the day.
The legislature's Black and Latino Caucus is holding its second annual roundtable today. Members will talk with community leaders about the state's racial disparities in jobs, incarceration rates, and housing, and how to fix those numbers. Governor Evers and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes will join the conversation as well. That starts at 11 this morning.
Governor Evers says he will review a pardon application filed on behalf of 29-year-old Brendan Dassey. Dassey is one of the subjects of the Netflix series Making a Murderer. His handwritten letter asks the governor to pardon him or to commute his sentence to reduce his time. The case actually doesn't meet the requirements for a pardon, but the Evers administration says they review every request regardless.
There could be more changes coming to how the state handles sexual assault kits. There's currently no specific procedure for collecting and processing sexual assault kits. A new bill would do that. It would require a doctor to report the sexual assault to police within 24 hours of putting together the kit or send it to the state crime lab. Lawmakers are talking about the bill today at the state capitol.
Governor Evers' administration wants to increase health coverage across Wisconsin. Wisconsin Public Radio reports the state is announcing $500,000 in outreach in hopes of encouraging people to register. Around 400,000 people reportedly had no health insurance at some point last year. You can sign up for coverage starting next month at healthcare.gov.
The Packers will head to Dallas to play the Cowboys Sunday afternoon at 3:25. The big question, will Davante Adams play? The Packers' leading receiver didn't practice yesterday. He's out with turf toe, which could be a slow process to heal. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he wouldn't count on Adams being active on Sunday.
Part of the Verona Road project is finally wrapping up tomorrow. The Nesbitt-Fitzrona roundabout will be back open tomorrow. And Governor Evers is celebrating that milestone, as well as commuters. 3 lanes of Verona Road in both directions between Raymond and McKee are scheduled to open up in early November. As for the entire project, it's slated to wrap up in 2020.
6:56 right now. Let's turn it over to Jason Stone with a final look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Brake lights popping up on the westbound Beltline prior to Stoughton Road through Monona Drive. All other lanes are moving at the posted speed limit. And John Nolan has routine lining up at the intersections heading downtown. Otherwise, no issues elsewhere. With your first alert traffic, I am Jason Stone.
All right, Jason, thank you very much.
And take a live look outside. This is our Edgewater Sky Cam looking at the Capitol. A few holes already starting to show up in the cloud cover here in southern Wisconsin. That's good news. We are going to dry out today. Temperatures are in the mid-50s with mostly cloudy skies this morning. Northwesterly winds, though, will start to scour out those clouds this afternoon with high temperatures in the upper 50s. That extended forecast has more sunshine on Friday. We'll split the weekend, though. Kind of a wet day on Saturday, but then a nice stretch of dry weather starting Sunday, heading into most of next week.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much, and thank you all so much for joining us this morning.
We leave you on this Thursday morning with a final view of Darlington. We will have the latest on flooding concerns there and across southern Wisconsin up on channel3000.com. Have a great one.